You are sitting in a car you cannot afford, in a parking lot you don't remember driving to, holding a receipt for a course you stopped watching 7 months ago. The dashboard light is the color of a bruise. You've been making the payment every month, $97, automatic, almost invisible, because canceling would mean admitting the $1,164 you've already spent is gone. So instead you keep paying, hoping that one day you'll go back and finish it, and the money will retroactively become a good decision. You won't. You know you won't. But the part of your brain that decides isn't the part of your brain that's awake right now. Your anterior cingulate cortex, the region that monitors conflict between what you want and what you do, is lit up like a switchboard. It's been lit up for months. You check your bank balance. You check it again. Same number. You check it a third time as if the act of looking might change it. You think about the gym membership you don't use, the investing app you opened twice, the relationship you stayed in for a year longer than you should have because, as you told yourself then, you'd already put so much in. Everything you own twice. Once for the money, once for the story you tell yourself about why you can't let it go. What economists call sunk cost, your nervous system calls home. Level 1 complete. But here's where most people stay. You start to notice. Not because you're paying attention, because the pattern is too loud now to ignore. It's Tuesday. You're standing in a kitchen that smells faintly of last night's dinner, and you're about to drive 40 minutes across town to a restaurant you don't want to eat at, because you already paid the non-refundable deposit. Halfway through pulling on your coat you stop. You catch your own reflection in the microwave door and you think, wait, why am I doing this? The honest answer arrives before you can edit it, because not going would feel worse than going. Even though going will also feel bad. Even though the money is gone either way. Something about that asymmetry doesn't sit right. Research in behavioral economics has long suggested that humans don't process losses and gains symmetrically. Losing $100 hurts roughly twice as much as gaining $100 feels good, what Kahneman and Tversky called loss-aversion. Your brain treats a sunk cost as an open wound. Quitting closes the wound but stamps it loss. Continuing keeps the wound open but lets you keep calling it investment. So you keep going. You drive to the restaurant. You eat the meal. You feel something heavier than disappointment. The specific exhaustion of betraying yourself in slow motion. On the drive home you start to wonder how many decisions you've made this way. The number, when you let yourself count, is everything. Level 2 complete. But here's where most people stay. You buy a journal. You download an app. You read a thread on discipline at 1:47 in the morning and you screenshot the part that feels like it was written for you. This time, you decide, will be different. You will be rational. You will treat money like a spreadsheet and not like a feeling. For about 11 days it works. Then you renew the streaming service you don't watch because canceling feels like wasting the 4 months you've already paid. You re-up the gym membership because quitting now would make the last year a failure. You stay in the side project that drained your weekends because pulling out would mean facing what those weekends cost you. The journal sits open on the counter. You've been trying to fix sunk cost thinking with willpower, which is like trying to fix a broken thermostat by yelling at the room. Neuroscience has long indicated that the prefrontal cortex, the seat of deliberate, rule-based thinking, burns through glucose at a rate that makes sustained self-control physiologically expensive. Every time you override a sunk cost impulse with logic, you spend a finite resource. Your brain knows this. By 9 p.m., the resource is gone, and the older, faster system takes over again. The system that says, you've already put in so much. The system that doesn't know what a spreadsheet is. You close the journal. You feel the familiar shape of failing at yourself. The problem was never your discipline. The problem is that you've been fighting the wrong organ. Level 3 complete. But here's where most people stay. You're on a walk you didn't plan when the sentence arrives in your head, fully formed, as if someone else placed it there. The money is already gone. You stop in the middle of the sidewalk. A woman behind you walks around without looking up. You stand there for a long moment, holding the sentence like something fragile. The money is already gone. The hours are already gone. The relationship, the course, the deposit, the side project, all of it, already gone. Not gone if you quit. Already gone. The decision in front of you is not whether to recover what you spent. The decision is whether to spend more. This is, in essence, what economists mean when they say a rational actor ignores sunk costs and considers only marginal benefit going forward. The brain, however, did not evolve for spreadsheets. Research into the neurobasis of decision-making indicates that the insula, a region associated with disgust and the visceral processing of loss, activates when humans contemplate abandoning a prior investment, even when continuing is objectively worse. You're not being illogical. You're being human, in the most expensive way humans can be. The insight doesn't fix anything. It just rearranges the furniture in a room you've lived in your whole life. For the first time, you can see the walls. You finish the walk. When you get home, you cancel one subscription. Just one. $49 a month. You expected guilt. What you feel instead is a strange, quiet space, like a held breath finally released. Level 4 complete. But here's where most people stay. Something shifts. Not dramatically. Not in a way anyone else would notice. You start asking a different question. Before you continue any commitment, financial, professional, relational, you ask, if I were starting from zero today, knowing what I know now, would I choose this? The first few times, the answer terrifies you. You sell a stock you've been holding at a loss for 2 years because the only reason you held it was that selling would make it real. You walk away from a freelance client who pays just enough that you couldn't justify quitting, but not enough to justify staying. You let go of a friendship you outgrew sometime around 2022. Each of these decisions feels, in the moment, like a small dying. And then, afterward, like oxygen. What's happening in your brain is what neuroscientists describe as Hebbian plasticity, neurons that fire together, wire together. Each time you ask the new question and survive the answer, you strengthen the pathway between awareness and action. Each repetition makes the next one cheaper. The old pathway, the one that equates loss with shame, doesn't disappear. It just gets less traffic. You notice you're checking your bank balance less often. Not because the number is higher. Because you've stopped looking for a number that would justify the past. You start measuring your money by what it can do next, not by what it has cost you. The relief is so unfamiliar it takes you weeks to recognize it as relief. Level 5 complete. But here's where most people stay. It comes, as these things always do, when you're not ready. A business you started 2 years ago, the one you took out a small loan for, the one you've told everyone about, is bleeding. Not catastrophically. Slowly. The kind of slow that lets you keep telling yourself another quarter, another launch, another email list. You are sitting at a desk you bought specifically for this venture, looking at a spreadsheet that has been quietly telling you the truth for 6 months. The numbers don't lie. The unit economics don't work. The market isn't there. You feel your chest tighten, the same insular response as before, the visceral recoil from loss. But you've felt it before now, and you know what it is. It's not information. It's just weather. You let it pass through you. You ask the question, if I were starting today, knowing what I know, would I begin this business? The answer is no. It has been no for months. You close the laptop. You call your accountant. You begin the unspectacular work of winding it down. Studies on regret have long suggested that people overestimate the pain of quitting and underestimate the pain of continuing, what some researchers call the asymmetric forecasting error. Your forecast was wrong. The grief is real, but it is finite. The grief of continuing would have compounded. You lose $48,000. You also reclaim 3 years of life you hadn't yet spent. Level 6 complete. But here's where most people stay. A year passes. You don't notice the change all at once. You notice it the way you notice a tree has grown, by looking at an old photograph and being surprised. Your finances, which used to feel like a leaking boat you were forever bailing out, now feel like an instrument. You have an emergency fund because you stopped funding a dozen things you no longer wanted. You have time because you stopped owing it to projects that were already dead. You have attention, that scarcest of resources, because you stopped renting it out to commitments you'd outgrown. The neuroscience term for what has happened is, broadly, neural efficiency. Pathways used often become metabolically cheaper to use. The new question, would I choose this today? Runs almost automatically now. It costs you almost nothing to ask. And because it costs nothing, you ask it everywhere. About investments. About the apartment lease. About the people you give your evenings to. About the stories you tell yourself when you can't sleep. You begin to suspect that wealth is not, primarily, a number. It is a relationship between attention and decision. People who appear to make money easily are not, in most cases, smarter. They are simply not paying interest on 1,000 quiet debts to their own past. You used to think you were behind. You're starting to understand you were just carrying things. Most of them, you can put down. Level 7 complete. But here's where most people stay. There is no triumphant scene. That's the first surprise. The wealthy mind, when you finally arrive at it, does not look like the ones in the advertisements. It looks like a person eating breakfast slowly. It looks like someone declining an opportunity that, 2 years ago, they would have said yes to out of fear of missing out, what behavioral economists have long described as the deep, irrational pull of imagined loss. They are not afraid of losing the opportunity. They have understood that opportunities are infinite, and time is not. You are this person now, in a way you would not have believed at level 1. You still feel the old pulls. The insula still fires. The anterior cingulate still flags conflict. The biology hasn't changed. What's changed is what sits on top of it. A question, a pause, a willingness to let money already spent stay spent. You make decisions forward now. You evaluate the next dollar, the next hour, the next yes, on the basis of what it can become, not on the basis of what came before it. This is, as nearly as anyone can define it, the operating principle of compounding wealth. Not a secret. Not a hack. A single, repeated act, refusing to let the past tax the future. You think of the person in the parking lot at level 1, holding a receipt, paying $97 a month for a course they would never finish. You don't feel contempt. You feel something closer to tenderness. They didn't know yet that the money was already gone. You do. And in that small, almost boring piece of knowledge, that one sentence the brain takes a lifetime to learn, is everything.